World's Strongest Stuck-Up. Written by Kagamin and told by Ryan the Rudge. The Fat Controller takes pride in his railway being a safe place for steam engines, but he thinks diesel engines are useful too. Diesel engines don't need turntables like mainline tender engines do. They can pull passengers or freight trains in either direction. "You're versatile," he'd say to Boko, Bear and Derek. "That means you could do different jobs well." The Sudorian diesels took pride in this. Versatile or not, any engine can get grief from Troublesome Trucks. Poor Henry found this out one day after coming off the tracks at Gordon's Hill. The Fat Controller sent him to the works, but another engine was needed at once. A diesel named Andy was to come to Sodor the very next morning to do Henry's jobs. When he arrived at the sheds, the engines were surprised. A long time ago, when Stepney first visited Sodor, Andy was on trial. He was quickly sent away in disgrace after inhaling an inspector's bowler hat in his air intake. From then on, everyone called him Bowler. "Sodor is an overgrown heritage railway," Andy said rudely. "On my railway, steam engines stay in a shed and can't go on the main line without special permission." Boko, the friendly diesel, stood up for his friends. "Stay outside then if you think you're so proud about it," he said. James hissed, "That old stuck-up diesel will never change." A few days later, Duck was in the yard shunting steel trucks for Andy and ballast trucks for Bear. He saw the stuck-up diesel sleeping in the siding. "That's better," Andy said groggily. "How can anyone sleep with the steam engines hissing and clanking?" Duck was annoyed. "Will you please get a move on already?" he wheezed. Andy was cross. "Once the Fat Controller sees how useful I am, he'll get rid of you steam engines once and for all." Duck ignored the mean diesel and went to his siding. The ballast trucks overheard. They were the naughtiest trucks in the yard, and they quickly came up with a plan. When Andy backed onto the steel train, the ballast trucks sang,
"Is that all you can haul? Henry's loads are longer. Is that all you can haul? Henry must be stronger."
This made Andy cross. He was sure he was stronger than Henry. Then he had an idea. "I will take the ballast trucks away from Bear and I'll pull them and the steel train at the same time. That'll show the Fat Controller that diesels are best." The trucks giggled. "Push yourself.
That's the longest.
Push yourself. You'll be the strongest." Andy smiled smugly. "That's me," he boasted. "The world's strongest engine." So Andy shunted the 20 ballast trucks in front of the 20 steel trucks. 40 trucks in total.
"What is that stuck-up fool Bowler doing?"
James asked when he came into the yard. Duck laughed. "He thinks he's the world's strongest engine." Since Andy didn't leave on time, the points were set back towards the shed. The trucks knew, but encouraged Andy to pull anyway. "Heave ho! Heave ho! You can pull, we won't go!" chanted the trucks. This made Andy very cross. He pulled and he pulled and he pulled. The trucks laughed, as did James and Duck. But then there was trouble. Andy was growling and pulling so hard that the coupler between him and the trucks broke. Andy went flying off towards the engine shed, but the tracks were oily since the other diesels were resting there earlier. "Oh no, I'm slipping!" Andy wailed. "Help! Crikeys! Not me!" Andy skidded all the way to the back of the shed and crashed through the back wall with a bang. The ballast trucks laughed so hard their loads almost spilled out. Andy wasn't badly damaged, but there was now a big hole in the engine shed. Duck was laughing so hard his face turned as red as James's paint. Later, the Fat Controller arrived with Henry, who was now all fixed. The Fat Controller spoke severely to Andy. "When people say leave a good impression, they don't mean literally." He then pointed at the hole in the wall Andy made. "Your controller is at Vickerstown. I will tell him personally how foolish you've been. Can you make up for lost time, Henry?" Henry puffed with pride as he pulled Andy out of the shed and hauled him all the way to Vickerstown at the end of the line. Derek and Bear arrived shortly to take the trucks away, who were still laughing even long after Andy left. That night at the shed, everyone enjoyed a good laugh too. Ho ho ho! Old stuck-up came unstuck, chortled Henry. I say, Boko, what does the Fat Controller call you? Versatile, replied Boko. Why? Henry smirked. Because that's not what he called Mr. World's Strongest Engine, Andy, he said. I didn't quite catch all he said, but it didn't sound very polite. As the big engines and friendly diesels laughed, Duck whispered to James, even Troublesome Trucks can do you a favour sometimes, he puffed. Like getting rid of a stuck-up old diesel, finished James.